From JA to UK to LA and everywhere else now, this is a podcast strictly influenced by Jamaican music, brought to you by Eric Kohler and Junor Francis. Well, if you're driving in your car or you're sitting home alone, the Junior entertain you on his microphone with the history of LA Ska. Yeah, hear stories from a guest while we all have a blast. From LA to Jamaica, it's in the podcast. The history of LA Ska. Of LA Ska, yeah. It's the history. Yes, it is. Of LA Ska. History of LA Ska, yeah. It's the history. Yes, it is. Of LA Ska. Of LA Ska. It's the history of LA Ska. One more time, yeah. It's the history of LA Ska.
Welcome to the History of LA Ska one-on-one sessions. I'm your host, Junor Francis, alongside my good friend, Eric Kohler. He's a producer. Now, this series celebrates the ska, rocksteady, and vintage reggae scene in Southern California and beyond through insightful conversations with legends and modern-day talent, including those behind the scene. And we have plenty of friends and relatives working behind the scene to make this a success. So therefore, whether you listen to this podcast series or you watch us on YouTube, we really and truly want to thank you for your support. And please remember to subscribe and tell a friend. One of our goals for 2025, this year, is to interview more ska, rocksteady, and reggae legends. So on this particular episode, we talk to a true architect of Jamaican music, the harmonica titan, mouth organ titan. In America, you say harmonica. In Jamaica, we say mouth organ. He's a genius percussionist. He's an arranger. And we're talking about none other than Charley, Organaire, Cameron. By his own estimate, by his own estimate, has blown, or you would say in America, appeared on about 3,000 songs between 1962, the year Jamaica gained independence, and 1960.
No, from 1960.
From 1960. Wow. So in one whole
so
decade.
just right.
Oh, wow.
Just before Jamaica gained independence.
Wow.
Well,
Amazing.
3,000.
Yeah, truly incredible. And Junior, I must add, also singer, as you do.
Yes.
But beyond
And
that,
I have a couple
Junior,
of questions to ask about your singing career, but I'll hold them till later.
well, let me say this, Junior. In the music business was from age 5, so
Wow.
70 odd years, because we have to talk about like from the very beginning of it, right?
And you should.
And so the inspiration was from my neighbor. There was this gentleman who used to play the harmonica and guitar. And so my mom bought me this little plastic harmonica. And from there, I never put it down and learned it very quickly. And, in our neighborhood, we used to have concerts.
Neighborhood in Kingston.
Neighborhood
Right?
concerts.
Kingston. In Kingston.
In Kingston, neighborhood.
And we're in
concerts.
Kingston for to give pride and joy to your.
Well, I was in the
neighborhood.
Kingston 13 area.
All right.
And I lived in that area until I left Kingston.
Interesting.
But anyway, so I started playing the mouth organ and I was reciting poems in the churches and lodge halls and, neighborhood places. So that was from way back then. So later years, I attended Boys Town School, which quite a bit of the artists, musicians back then also attended that school. Alton Ellis and so many other, They invited Virgins to Boys Town. Now, Virgin is one of the person who really responsible for the singers and most musicians' success, because that's where we all started. And so I was about 10 years old when I did my first appearance at Ambassador Theater.
Wow.
Yeah. And I came second, or I don't remember, first, second, whatever it was, but I won the prize. There were only 2 prizes. And so from there on, it was Ambassador, it was Palace, it was Tropical, it was Majestic, it was all the theaters in Kingston.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, on those shows, I only played the harmonica because the singers were, I mean, extreme talented. You know, you're talking about a guy like Lassell Perkins, if you guys heard of Lassell Perkins.
Of course.
Right. He was like the Billy Eckstein. He was like the Billy Eckstein then. You could never tell the difference. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And because, you know, Jamaica, actually, we imitate the American singers back then. So you would have Roy Hamilton, which would be Roy Fuller. You would have Wilfred Edwards at the time, before he named Jackie Edwards. At that time, he was the Nat King Cole.
Mm-hmm.
And, right. John Holt was more like, what's his name now? Yeah, I just move on. A Certain Smile, whatever, Johnny Mathis.
Oh, right.
Then you had Owen Gray, you know, would be more like Little Richard style of performance. You know.
Incredible talent.
But these are the beginnings artists, you know?
Yes.
The beginnings.
Right.
Because I was right in the beginning of it. So from there on, then it led up till the recording time and all that. So
yeah, way back. And Charley, thank you for joining us today. We Junior and I have been talking about wanting to interview, spend time with you some time now. So on that note, who were some of your musical influences outside of your neighbor?
Who were some of my what?
Musical influences.
Well, harmonica wise, there's a group called Harmony Cats.
Oh.
Harmony Cats. They oh man, it was a group of harmonica players. So you would have one who played the bass harmonica, one would play the chord harmonica, and one would play the lead.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look up Harmony Cats, then you see these guys, they played a song, one of their big hits was Peg of My Heart.
Okay.
And then in Jamaica now, there was a blind man, his name was Lenny. He was from Trenchtown. Nobody talks about him because, I mean, you'd have to be as young as I am in order to remember him. Right, but he was really, really one of the great harmonica players, you know. Roy Richards came much later.
Right.
So he was another influence. There was also another guy that played on the Virgins programs. His name was Milton Dawes. Well, he didn't do any recording, so people don't know much about him, but he was an excellent harmonica player.
Right. Right.
You know, before I used to play the diatonic, and he used to play the chromatic. So I got influence to the chromatic from Milton Dawes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I have one follow-up question on your Virgins, and then Junior, and passing it over to you. I had read, Charley, that one of your early interactions, or maybe the earliest interaction with Alton Ellis, was on Virgins. Is that accurate?
No, well, let me explain Virgins. Like I say, I attended Boys Town School in Trenchtown, because Trenchtown seems to be the music area, you know. Sims and Robinson, Alton Ellis, Lassell Perkins, quite a Toots and the Maytals. They also lived in Trenchtown when they started performing. So quite a bit of the artists are from that area. I was not from that area, but I went to school in that area.
Okay.
So I was at Boys Town School. So they invited virgins to the school. So there was a contest with the way Virgins does this is you have the singers and you have other acts. So whatever anybody else does is called other acts. That's in that category. And then the singers would be, that's how they check deal with the talents. There's singers and the other acts.
Okay.
So I came first playing the harmonica, played Cherry Pink and Apple Blossom White, never forget.
Oh, wow. Love that.
And Alton came second. So the prize was to appear in the theaters. So that's where I started there. Yeah.
Wow.
So were your parents proud of your accomplishment at that young age?
If my parents what?
Proud. Were they proud of you as a youngster?
Of course. Yeah. My neighborhood
Yes.
was proud of me.
There you go.
Not just my parents. I mean, I was like King Charles in the I was like King Charles in the area, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. And how old were you again, sir?
Well, I started at that time with Virgins, now around 10 years old.
Okay.
10 or 11 somewhere.
Wow, still a youngster, still a baby.
Yeah, man. Of course.
Yeah.
I tell you one thing.
Yeah, the first record that you appeared on was which one? The first time in the recording studio.
I try to remember that. I know I played for Little Wonder with Keith and Enid and those people.
Yes.
I think that's where I started with and with that producer. But anyway, I
Those
can't
were
remember
ballads,
which
Those
one
were
it was.
ballads.
Yes,
Those were
highlight.
ballads.
Right, highlight, right. And then, but recording was with Prince Buster.
Okay. Okay. Right.
Because you see, and then I did Never with Bobby Aiken for Prince Buster. And that was a big hit. Right?
Yeah. And we're gonna touch on all that. So let's talk about the your recollection about more the creation of ska, since you were there. You predated ska, but you were clearly around there, and we know that there's many important musicians. A couple of them clearly, Theo Beckford, Ernest Ranglin. But talk about the creation of ska.
Okay, well, back in the early years, all the DJs would be playing people like Louis Jordan, Jesse Belvin, and all these people. So all those they actually play rhythm and blues, and Theophilus Beckford was the first one who started. I would say it wasn't quite the ska as yet. It was more closer to the rhythm and blues when they did like Easy Snapping. And then you would have Laurel Aitken doing Big Boogie in My Bone and all that stuff with him playing keyboards. So his style of playing continuously was just that ska rhythm. So it led up to when Prince Buster, because he was producing Derek Morgan at the time, Monty Morris, and all these people. So the drummer, the musicians at the time was from Bagel. The bass player his name was Blues. The guitarist was Judge Jerry. And right. And then you have the horn players like Roland Alfonso, Val Bennett, Val Bennett. You have another guy named Campbell. These were the horn players, and trumpeters were Baba Brooks. You had Baba Brooks there. You had Johnny Moore, just a Johnny. Raymond Harper. Alto sax. It was the Sterling, Lester Ska Sterling. Yeah, so it went on with those were the musicians pretty much that were in the ska sessions.
Wow.
Richard Ace
Well,
also played he played on some of the ska recordings
Richard
also.
Ace. Okay. Okay.
so was Dan Drummond around because I think he's pretty
Oh,
much the
Dan
same
Drummond
age
was
as
there,
Scotty,
but
right?
Rico Rodriguez was ahead of
Mm-hmm.
Dan Drummond because you have a song like Let George Do It. That was
Uh-huh.
Rico Rodriguez. So he was there before Don, but when Don came in much later. But that was
You,
when the with rhythm and blues,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
when it was more
uh-huh.
rhythm and
Right,
blues.
right, right.
With the
Mhm.
ska now, Don was there.
Yes.
Right. And when it evolved from rhythm and blues to ska, what do you think was the change? The best of your
Well,
recollection.
mm, if you listen to Easy Snapping,
Mm-hmm.
um, as you know, the beginning to the beginners to to our music was
Right.
if you listen to that, then you hear the boogie woogie rhythm. When it comes to Prince Buster and Derek Morgan, the vocals and everything was more Jamaican, you know, you know, um, and so you would have all these horns, including the harmonica, playing that ska riff, the pop, pop, pop. We all playing that
Yeah.
note, that half the beat note. So that's where the ska actually came in with the harmonica, the saxophone doing that, the trumpet doing that. If one guy soloing, everybody going pop, pop behind it. And so you have a guy named Campbell, and another guy, his name is Stanley Notice. That's all they did on the saxophone.
Load,
Yeah,
load.
they
Wow.
just played that ska, including the harmonica.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, according to Derek Morgan's in in the interview we did with him, he said that he think the shift to ska came officially when Scatterlight's drummer Lloyd incorporated the African drumming that I
Well,
can't explain so well.
if you listen to the early Derek Morgan
Mhm.
and
Uh-huh.
the early Prince Buster, Drum
Right,
Baker is a drummer.
Mm.
right.
You listen to the early Monty Morris, Drum Baker
Drumming.
was a drummer.
Mm-hmm.
Lloyd Nib started 1962.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that clearly. He started 62. This
Right.
music been way beyond 62. Like I said, I
Mm-hmm.
got there when it was about 1960. So I started
Right.
before Lloyd Nibs.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
No, my question was more specific though. When did you notice the shift? Because there
The
was a
shift,
shift somewhere along the line.
oh, well, the difference was Drumbago. The difference with Drumbago, he played four on his kick. So he played more like a shuffle on the
Mm-hmm.
kick, pretty much the same rhythm that Leidnips plays on the hi-hat.
Right.
He
Right.
plays it on his cymbal, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it was ska during Drumbago, and it was also ska when
During.
during Lloyd Nibs.
Right.
When
Right.
Lloyd Nibs, he instead of him playing four on the kick, he played two on the kick. So he would play
Mm-hmm.
boop, boop, while Drumbeer would be playing boop, 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 boop. So listen to the early Derek Morgan and Monty Morris and Prince Buster. You hear the four, which was Drumbeer.
Okay.
Right.
I'm gonna go back and check that. Yeah.
I've been doing it all my life. You go ahead, Eric.
Charley, you've our research and from what I've read, you also worked with at least two big bands led by one Carlos Malcolm and one Sonny Bradshaw. To talk about working with the two of them.
Well, let me go before I start before those two
Sure,
guys.
sure. Of course.
You see, I used to back in the I would say because Kingston was, man, if you didn't have at least 50 bands, you didn't have enough.
Wow.
Right. Most of them, you have orchestras, you have Christian, you have all these different sheiks, Byron Lee. There was a whole lot of bands in.
Right.
During that time, I used to sing with a band called Trent and Spence at a club called Johnson's Drive-In. So Richard Ace was the keyboardist at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started performing with them, and different musicians playing different places. Percy Myers, they would take me to perform with them all over the, Kingston. Back then, let me say, Stony Hill, we would call that Upper St. Andrew. It was more Europeans in that area, in the northern part of Kingston when I was a child, because you have to remember, England ruled Jamaica back then.
Mm-hmm.
See, when I was a child in Kingston, you would have all these English soldiers and army trucks all over there, all over Kingston. So we would get jobs up in the Stony Hill areas, and with all these different people, I would get jobs in Mandeville and all those places. So that was before, but because I was popular playing the harmonica, that's how I get hired to Carlos Malcolm Band.
Okay.
Baba Brooks got hired to Byron Lee. Lester Sterling got hired to Byron Lee. And so quite a few of us got hired to these big bands. But before that, I was with other bands,
Got it. Right. And what we're talking, what year now, when you joined Carlos Malcolm?
65, I think. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Mm-hmm. And tell us about when you work with Bobby Atkin and was instrumental in forming the Caribbeans. Who else was in the band? And is that information accurate?
Well, let me tell you how the band was formed.
Please. That's the whole idea.
How the band was formed. You see, after I played Never Never with Bobby Aiken, and that was a big tune and all that. I don't know if you heard of a band called Zappao.
Oh, you mean man.
Zappao was the band that what's his name now? Anyway, Zappao.
It was
guitarist
Barry
and
Salmon,
Zappao. Right.
Barry Salmon,
and Barry Salmon. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. Barry Salmon was the singer at the time. Well, that bass player, he, Bobby Aiken, and myself decided we were going to start the Caribbean band.
Mm-hmm.
3 of us. He was a drummer at the time also. He was a drummer and a bass player. But then he got a gig on the North Coast, so it left Bobby Aiken and myself. So we hired other people to play with us. So it wasn't just Bobby Aiken, it was Bobby Aiken and myself.
Okay.
Right.
And so it wasn't even called Bobby Aiken and the Caribbeans, it was just called the Caribbeans. Okay. So we have people like Cynthia Richards, right? And what's the drummer's name now? Because he was popular now. Anyway, I'll come back to that. But he played with Toots and the Maytals and all these. Yeah, I will come back to that.
Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, so the band started up. Even Answer Collins played with us.
Wow.
Yeah, Answer Collins. I think he played drums with us when he started. Yeah. And then keyboard.
Right.
There was this excellent player, Conroy Cooper, which was Grub Cooper's brother.
Okay, musical family.
Right. I used to go to the blind school to get him so he could play with us,
Wow.
you know. So there was quite a bit of us here, yeah, in that band, yeah.
And it was formed around what year?
1962.
And how many years did the Caribbean stay together?
Well, they stayed around a long time. I left the Caribbeans in probably around 66.
Oh, okay. All right. But that's a good
And then I went to the North Coast. I went to Mobay and joined up with Trenton Spence in Mobay when he moved to Mobay.
Okay.
So we were playing at a club called Fat Cat, Tucker's Fat Cat, overlooking a place called Charles Square. Yeah.
Mhm.
And at the time, Mobay is a second city, you know.
Sure.
So,
Sure. Yeah.
They were quite a.
So was it a move because did you move because of economic reason? I guess more money on the North Coast.
Well, partly, yeah. Partly because there were more regular gigs on the North Coast, yeah.
Right. Right.
Right.
Um,
But the disadvantage is recording opportunities are far and few on the North Coast, if any, right? At that
No,
time.
there were no recording on the North
Right.
Coast. Everything was Kingston.
right.
Mhm.
So you see, at the time when I went to the North Coast, that's when I walked away from recording, you know, for whatever reason it was.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
So, Charley, a key figure in the history of Jamaican music and ska and beyond, a producer and a singer, and someone that you were close to. Let's talk about Prince Buster and your work with him.
Well, actually, like you see, if you notice, Danny and I are very close, you know. Sultan Ali
Yes.
is like my little brother, you know. And out of all the producers, Prince Buster and I were closest because he and I'm talking about in his early start, you know, he and I used to be up all over the place walking. This was before he started driving or anything like that.
Wow.
We were all over, you know, wherever, you know, Marty Planner. The first time I ever met with Marty Planner was with Prince Buster. You know, we went up to Trenchtown. We hung out with Marty Planner for a little bit and all of that. So, and the thing I always remember with Prince Buster, we were walking then, you know, he wasn't driving, and he would get his share of people calling him out, you know, because he was a little more popular than I. So he was getting his share because he used to call him Boop. So you would hear Boop, hey Boop, and I get my little share of Organaire, you know. So yeah, but I always say, man, that was kind of nice, you know. But he and I were good friends, yeah.
What was the first tune that you recorded for Buster?
What were the tunes?
Yeah, what was the first tune you recorded for Prince?
The one I remember is Never Never.
Okay.
That's the one I remember. I don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you had to guess how many songs you did?
For Prince Buster,
Yes.
nearly every one that he recorded.
Wow, that's incredible.
If you listen, I was always carrying in the background. I was playing the pop, pop, pop because the harmonica had to be there. You see, the harmonica became one of the main ska instruments. So it was Campbell on tenor sax, Stanley Notice, call him Ribs, also on tenor sax.
Mm-hmm.
The harmonica, the guitar, the piano, playing that same riff. That pop, pop, that after beat, yeah.
Wow.
Talking about the big band ska sound.
Yeah, man.
Yes, yeah. I think some of Prince Buster's earliest recordings were with Derek Morgan, the Never Never, and Monty Morris.
Well, the two earliest, the earliest ones is you have Monty Morris, you have Derek Morgan, you have Owen Gray,
right,
When Gray was with Prince for so long time, they had the Charmers. There were so many of them. You had Scully, which was Sims. Right. So
Right.
there's so many.
Right.
But we were in the studio. Actually, let me say this: there was one recording studio at the time, which was Federal. So, and I had to play on for each of these record producers at the time. So the sessions would start at 9 in the mornings, and sometimes goes on till 3 in the morning.
And you would stay there basically all day. Wow.
Yeah,
No, not all day, but all night. Cause 3 o'clock is real
All night,
night.
right. Yes, right.
So I have to be back at 9 the following morning because see, each one play up till 5 o'clock, and then from 5 o'clock there's the other producer, record producer, take it from there,
Right.
And so from day to day, we were actually in that studio maybe 4 days a week, 5 days a week.
That's wild.
Just making records.
Yeah.
On the subject of producers, let's talk about Duke Reid. You also work with Coxsone, Duke Reid, King Edwards, Beverly, and did you record with Sonia Patridge as well?
Yeah. Not Sonia, no, the husband.
Right, right.
I never played for the woman, no.
Right.
Oh, okay.
But that's so many producers. And if what percentage of the songs would you say did you add impromptu parts to versus scripted notes, so to speak?
What percentage?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, I mean, how much of it
Well,
was
if they did 10 songs, I probably would be playing on 8 of them.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And you were able to add your some of your own arrangements, or was it all written
No,
out?
everything was live.
Right.
You see, back in those days we didn't have we didn't have the kind of equipment like we have now, where you can do one instrument today and do the other one tomorrow.
Right. It was all live.
Everything analog, and so we had to do everything just one time. Yeah. So it was live. All those sessions was live, like just a live band playing. Yeah, for all those sessions. Yeah.
Yeah, I would mention Coxsone. I came across a song, and I keep wondering, how did I live without this song all my years? It was given to me by a good friend by the name of Rasta John. And this you did a solo, and then Lester Scasterden came in afterwards, the Tonettes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone should, if not own, but I get at least listen to that song.
You played that for me, Junior.
But I guess because during those days, because the producers have so many songs, a lot of songs didn't get played on the radio, especially because the producer, the radio station, weren't playing too many Jamaican songs. But man, that's one of the greatest solo I've heard, perhaps, in all my listening to songs. And then Lester Sterling took off. Absolute perfection. The Tonettes, Love That Is Real. I think there were two female, fronted by two female singers, right?
I think there's a kind of melody coming to me, like when I hear it. The Love That.
Stop, da 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 da.
Yeah, man.
Stop, da da da. I just discovered that one, and I can't stop playing it.
Wow.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I even posted it a couple of days ago. Love That Is Real by the Tonettes.
Listen, man, let me tell you this, man. Those sessions were great. Like I said, everybody played one time. Everything was live. So you're listening to a live band. It's not like somebody played a part now and somebody played a part later. Everybody, the guy was named Ron Goodall, was the engineer. And when he's ready to record, you hear him say, "Red light." You can hear that in some of the records, right? Yeah. Red light. And when he said red light, that means you're counting. And boom, right there.
So you do your solo and Lester just come right in. I mean,
Everything
you know
live, like you're watching a live band
Yeah.
on stage. That's how it was.
Recording. Right. Yeah.
So,
Right.
you know, the professor from one of these professors from the university, when they gave me the award in Kingston, he asked me, he said, how did they wrote that solo for you, rough and tough solo? I said, no, nothing was written for anybody. And pretty much, things just come.
It came to you.
There.
It came to you either right before or during the session.
Right then, you just, because we want to make that money anyway. You get paid for each song you play. So the more songs you record, the more money you make.
Of course. Right.
So we're going to try to make sure that cut is one time. And these musicians, if you were to make mistakes, they would run you out the studio.
I heard that happen
Can't
to a
make
lot
no
of people.
mistakes. Yeah.
Yes.
Because let me say this. These musicians were some serious musicians.
Yes.
You have to remember that Jamaica had some of the greatest musicians in the world. Some of your best horn players were Jamaicans.
Indeed.
Yeah. One of the greatest guitarists, Ernest Ranglin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, Ernest Ranglin. In the 60s, he was rated BBC #1 guitarist in the world.
Yeah.
Right. So we had
and he's still active.
Oh man, yeah, but you know what? He doesn't even get the credits that
Right.
he should have got. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for the record, he was the one who arranged My Boy Lollipop, the song that put Jamaica
Right.
Jamaican music on the map, 1964. And
Yeah,
I think there were only one more Jamaican in that session. He was the arranger for Chris Blackwell.
Right, he was. You're right.
6 million copies sold worldwide.
Right. And that song with the Wailers, the slow song, we get that guitar
After
solo.
read your copy of them. After
Yeah, that was Ernest Ranglin.
Yes.
Yeah, that solo was very popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charley, did outside of Prince Buster, did you prefer any of the other producers' styles? Like were some easier, more enjoyable to work with?
Well, the others were more business.
Okay.
Yeah, so there was a difference there. So Prince Buster, because remember, I was in Prince Buster's house and all of his home and all of that. That time Sultan Ali was just little kid, And I think Junior was there. Let me say this about with Sultan and I now. Because when I knew them, they were all babies, They have the three first ones was Danny, second one was Dane, and you have Lorraine, because we had the recordings of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Danny, Dane, and Lorraine. And when they gave me award in Florida, I made her present the award to me. I told the guy, let her present the award to me, because I held her in my arm when she was a little baby.
Lorraine,
yeah.
right. Mm-hmm.
Right. So with Sultan now, because I left and started working on the North Coast, and I've been on the North Coast for a long time, lived there, and then after that I moved to Chicago. So you're talking about a long time outside of Kingston.
Yes. And what year did you relocate to Chicago? What year?
76 I came here, yeah.
Okay.
I did a lot of stuff here too, man, yeah. But so anyway, I was talking to this guy named Castro. You know, he was an entertainer back in the days too. And I heard somebody in the background said, "Is that the Charley Organaire?" Because I was away from them for a long time, you know. And the person in the background said, "I must talk to him." That was Sultan.
Were you in London then? Was that in London?
No. Was right there at Dove Club. You were there, Junior.
Yes, man.
Yeah, you were there. You were at the rehearsal.
Oh, yes, definitely.
You were at the rehearsal.
Right.
And so I said to him, I said, "I'm performing at the Dove Club." So, and the energy that night was off the wall, man.
Right.
You know?
It was kind of a homecoming for Sultan.
Oh, man. You could, because these are people who love me, you know.
Of course.
Right.
Right now, I mean, his sister, oh, man, those two. Because the other one, Dan, I don't see him that much. I only saw him in London. Only saw him one time in London. But Sultan, you know, man, constantly we talk, man. We have to talk.
Yeah.
So his two favorite musicians are Lester Sterling and myself. Of all the musicians, of Lester and
And the three of you got to do something, I think, over in was it in Europe somewhere, right?
Oh yeah, it was in the Skamount.
Skamount Festival, right?
Skamount. And I tell you this, like I always say, he's a hell of a performer.
Yes, sir. I second that.
Yeah. Wait, real quick, who was Junior? Who was the backing band at that Dub Club show?
That band they used to play behind Laurel Aitken, his band, I don't remember the name of the band.
No, the Dub Club out here in LA.
Yeah, the Dub Club in LA.
No, you're talking about Dub Club?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes...
Is it Delirious?
No, what's the name of that band?
Steady 45s? Delirious?
Yes, Steady 45.
Steady 45s, all right.
Oh, let me say this, man. I am so pleased working with that band.
Oh,
I have to give them the credit because they are some good musicians.
Oh my gosh. And they've only gotten better, believe it or not, since then, Charlie.
Oh man, that night, listen, man. When that guy, that bass player, man, and they were so live. They were alive, you know?
Yeah.
You know, yeah, they were alive, man. They're a good band, man.
Oh my gosh. They
yes.
I would say over the last 2 years alone, and Junior, this is thanks to you and Scott. Over the last 2 years, just recently they backed Roy Ellis, Mr. Simmerup. They backed Stranger Cole out here, the Pioneers, Rudy Mills. I mean, yeah, incredible.
But I'm wondering if it wasn't Delirians, though. Give me time. It may have been Delirians, you know, but then again, they interchange.
Sure, yes.
There was another band I played with. I'm not a Mexican band. What the hell their name is? In Mexico.
Those are the Travelers. Travelers are stars.
Oh yeah.
Listen.
Incredible.
There was a song I recorded. I just did the song for Willie Francis because we were good buddies. Never charged him for it, nothing like that. But that song was popular in Mexico. And when I did a performance, they were singing the words of my song.
I listened to it last night.
So, and there was a guy who was a promoter in LA. He was by the Dub Club also when I performed there. It's some kind of Latin guy. He was there, and the night he said, in Mexico, the night he said, "This is the best." I don't remember, could be, but he said, "This is the best show I have seen of all shows." When I did the show there,
yeah,
because the band was alive and and my energy was on top, because
Yes.
it goes by how you feel,
Oh, of
your
course.
energy,
Of
right?
course. Yeah.
But that band was also great.
And
Charlie,
what was the response like in Mexico?
Oh, they love Mexico. Listen, man, they love our music
Yeah,
because they
they
knew
treat
the
it like a
words to my
religion.
song. They knew the words to my song.
Hmm.
And when the guy said you have to sing that song, I never performed that song before. I said, the title is "It Isn't Fair." It's on YouTube, and you
I
see,
listened last night.
huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's on
listened to it
YouTube.
last night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah, man.
yeah. So which leads to my next question now. So, why you didn't do more singing during the early days? You didn't know that you had such an amazing voice.
Well, um, when I started recording vocally,
Yes,
I started my own label.
I see.
You see, I started recording 1963. Um, because I believe in doing your own business also.
sure.
So um, I was recording for all these other people, and then I said, well, let me start my own. I got the name Organ. I first have to tell you how I got the name Organaire. At Prince Buster's shop was at Charles Street
Okay.
in Kingston. It wasn't on Orange Street yet. And so when I record for him, I would go by, and that's where I get paid. And there was a carpenter shop across the street from there. Every time he comes in the Prince Buster shop, he would call me Organaire because of the
Mm,
harmonica, mouth
right.
organ. He called me Organaire. So when I did my recordings, I started using Organaire, and then I changed my name to Charley Organaire, all because of that guy, man. So I did the London Town was the two songs, and Troubles. I did that was the two first I did. 1963, yeah.
1963.
Wow. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, sir. And those songs are available now because that was during the heart of ska.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I have those. Do I have those on my website? I think I do have those. Organaire Records.
Okay.
Mhm.
Organairerecords.com.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
Because ska made a good comeback, and the collectors are ready to eat up
oh,
those songs,
Well,
whether
right
it's
now,
original or repress. So you should keep it on the market.
right now I am working. I never stop working on music,
Yeah,
because
amen.
right now I'm doing quite a bit, you know,
yes.
because I know how to arrange and all of that. So
Of
that's
course.
a big deal for me because I've been a band leader here in Chicago for quite some years, ever since I came.
Hmm.
Charlie,
Right.
let's go back. I want to ask you about another singer that you worked with, Phyllis Dillon.
Yeah, if you knew. Yeah, man. That's one of my favorite solos, though. I love that
One of
solo.
our all-time favorites too. Yes.
Yeah, I love that solo.
What was Phyllis like?
Well, I wasn't with her for just I met her in the studio,
Okay.
so I never really get to spend any time around her. So, but she very pleasant.
Mhm.
She was a very pleasant person in my meeting with her. You know, and an excellent singer, man.
Indeed. So, so,
One of the best,
Yes,
yeah.
man.
so
Really.
you recorded on "Don't Stay Away" other songs, or just that one from her?
That one I remember. I
Okay.
don't.
Okay.
And back in the day, I'm not so.
You have there's no way to remember all 3,000.
No, sir. I mean, sometimes even songs that I did a song. It's No, I was talking to this guy in England. I'm trying to remember the title of the song. And he told me that I sang this Beulah. I said, I didn't do no song named Beulah, man. And then he sent it to me. I'm singing it and I'm playing the harmonica on it.
Wow.
I said, didn't remember. I didn't remember writing it, didn't remember singing it or anything like that. But I was very, very, very busy when it comes to the music. I was like
Of course.
round the clock, Yeah.
Yeah.
When it comes
Yes,
to
sir.
music, man, I was.
Tell us, Roy Richards. He came in after perhaps just before you left Jamaica, right? If my
No, man,
memory
he
serves.
came. No,
Before
no,
you
no.
left to
Roy
Montego Bay,
Richards.
he came
Roy
on the scene.
Richards came in even during the Virgin's time. Later in the
Oh,
Virgin's time, yeah. Roy Richards
uh-huh.
came in. Did he come in? Yeah, but like when Virgin's, the ending of the Virgin's time, then Roy Richards came in there. And the thing that made him popular, he used to play the harmonica with his nostrils,
Yes.
Yeah. Not that I couldn't do
Right.
it, but I don't think it's clean enough for me.
And I think was he partially blind? He had vision. I know he had
He
vision.
was partially blind, yeah. He
Partially blind.
wasn't real blind, but he acted as if he was real blind, totally blind, but he
Mhm.
wasn't. No, he was partially blind. Derek
Right.
Morgan was blinder than he was.
Okay. Yes.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And he made quite a few songs. Couple of them even hit the chart. He
Oh,
sings as well.
he made quite a bit. He had a girl named Paulette who used to sing with him. Yeah,
Okay.
Roy and Paulette.
Right.
Oh, that's the
And
same Roy. I did not know that.
Roy and Paulette, yeah, that was Roy Richards. I don't know what happened to Paulette. I was asking Derek Morgan because he did some recordings with her too.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Sadly and unfortunately, a lot of the Jamaican female, they just fall by the wayside. No trace left behind. You mentioned Cynthia Richards earlier. She had a big hit, Conversation, went to the top of the charts, and then you
Mhm.
don't know what happened to them.
I
Um,
did actually I introduced her to some people in England and they interview her and all of that.
so she was
Yeah.
living in England.
No. I just
Oh,
introduced her to them because there's this guy that um plays a lot of he have a radio station in England and they play a lot on Sundays and on Thursdays they play a lot of Jamaican music, ska
Mhm.
music from way
mhm.
back from the Sundays
Right.
is they do the oldies and Thursday do the new music, yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
So he introduced him to Cynthia Richards.
Okay.
And yeah man.
So she's still alive and well.
Yeah man, she's good, man.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Cynthia's
Nice.
good. She started out in the Caribbean band with about
Yeah,
getting
that's
her.
why I brought your name up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's great. So, another big tune that you played on, Humpty Dumpty, right?
Yeah man. Yeah, to Dumpty Monty Morris.
Talk about that one from what you remember.
She I don't remember a whole lot about that one because that one was way, way back too,
That was early on,
I
right?
remember more the ones I did with him, like the Sammy Dead.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Big,
Sammy
big
Dead
tune.
and Little More Oil in My Lamp Keep It Burn and all those.
Yes, I hear you in that one too. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Um what happened now, Byron Lee decided to record those songs. And so the Byron Lee, he was more on the society side, the high society side,
Right.
so he would get more airplay
Oh,
than the other producers.
Producer.
All right. So that Sammy Dead took off. So I'm listening to that. The two most popular ska tunes that I noticed they play is Sammy Dead and Six and Seven Books. Even the churches are playing Six and Seven Books. By Toots and the Maytals, yeah, man. And watch them when it come onto my solo, man. I see them church people get down. Yeah.
I can imagine. I can imagine. You did a handful of songs for Toots?
Huh?
You did a handful of different songs with Toots?
Yeah.
Yeah, those ones are produced by Prince Buster.
Prince Buster and Coxon. Both of them, Prince Buster and Coxon.
Yeah.
Because 6 and 7 books was Coxon. Yeah, man.
How about Beverly? You did some work with Beverly's as well, right?
I did. I was in the studio with all of Beverly's recording, from Jimmy Cliff to all of
earliest.
Derek Marlin, Jimmy Cliff. I played a solo for Hurricane Hattie.
Yes.
So if I'm not doing the solos, then I was, like I said, I was a ska harmonica player.
You were
So the ska had to be if you were to introduce Roy Panton.
Yes.
If you were to interview Roy Panton,
yes,
then he would tell you, man, the harmonica had to be in these records.
Of course.
They're not going to sing unless I'm playing. So Roy Panton, I wasn't even aware of it. He said, Charlie, you play on every one of my songs.
Wow. Congratulations, man.
Yeah, he said, you play on every one of my songs. Yeah.
Charlie, was there any singer that you, in retrospect, wanted to play with, but you never got to play with?
Not really. Not really.
I mean, that's something to be hugely proud of.
Not really. I mean, whoever wanted the harmonica, I was there.
Right.
Well, like I said, back in the ska years, and especially when we only had that one recording studio, because everybody used to record at Federal.
Right.
Later years, then you have Studio One, and then you have Treasure Island, Randy's, and everybody start their own independent studio.
Right.
But a better time was at Federal, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Yeah, wow. What a career. So you relocated, as you mentioned, I think in '76 to Chicago. Talk about first meeting Chuck Wren from Jump Up and Darren Reggae and the Chicago crew there.
Well, I met Chuck Wren much later because he didn't know I was here.
Okay.
He didn't know. What happened? I started using my real name, Cameron.
Okay.
Which should have been a no-no, but when I came, like I said, I was in North Coast performing. So the last show I did, I was at the Hilton Hotel.
Okay.
And as soon as I came here, I started putting a band together. And I was playing at this Greek club called Athens, and a Cuban couple came up to me, and they said, "Oh, we just saw you in Jamaica."
Wow.
They said, "We just saw you in Jamaica." It turned out that we became friends. They introduced me to a Cuban agent. So I played in every Latin club in Chicago, and I was on Channel 26 TV.
Wow.
Yeah. And what they said, of all the entertainers that they saw at the Hilton Hotel, I treated them the best.
Wow.
Nice.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
Because I used to play.
The price of being a good person.
I used to perform there on every Thursday night,
right.
at the Hilton, because I was doing cabaret. And so after that, then I met another agent here, American agent. They were in the Loop in the downtown area of Chicago, Jade Enterprises.
Okay.
So they booked me, even Channel 7. I was playing all the Channel 7 gigs. All their dinner functions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
corporate functions, and yeah, I was playing their functions. That agent you booked me to play for them, and I lost that gig because my drummer.
Oh, wow.
What happened? My drummer. They were hosting the Colombian team, soccer team.
Okay.
They were playing against Brazil, and we were among the Colombians, and he was cheering for the Brazilian team, my drummer, and nobody could stop him. And right at the end of it, the president of WLA said to me, he said, "Charles, you won." Just like that. I knew exactly what that meant. Never booked me again because of that drummer.
Wow.
Yeah, I believe he knew what he was doing, you see.
Right.
Sometimes people do
Self-sabotage.
yeah, sabotage. Yeah, that's what it was, yeah.
Yeah.
But I played even for the mayor, the first black mayor of Chicago.
Harold.
I played for Harold. I played for his when he became mayor, I played for his celebration.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I played for Governor Thompson. I do a lot of official gigs here in Chicago.
Right.
Outside of the Caribbean or Jamaican community, right?
Outside of the Jamaican community, yeah. And also in the Jamaican community, we had different organizations. So I was the one that played, even up to this moment, if they need entertainment, that's what they come for.
Nice. Yeah.
So so ever since your arrival in America, you've been able to make a living playing music.
Playing music, and I also paint because that's my trade also.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh,
I became I became a union steward in 1982 here in Chicago.
Okay.
For Painters Union. So I was their steward at Federal Reserve Bank, all over these places. McCormick Place, I work as their steward. Because, from Jamaica, even though I was recording, but I still did trade work.
Okay.
right.
Yeah, I was still, so I always tell people I never depend on just one thing, you see?
No, that's
Amen.
true. Absolutely.
Amen.
Yeah. But so Charlie, but now fast forward to when you did meet Chuck Wren.
Well, okay. So I was playing somewhere in North Chicago, I would say probably an hour away from here. And when I finished, this Mexican guy came up to me and he said, "Charley Organaire," he said. I said, "Wow," and he said to me, he said, "Man, I took the train, I took the cab, I took this to get to you." And he showed me a record, the record Troubles. He showed me the copy of it. And he said, "My parents are fans of yours." And then he said to me, he said, "Stranger Cool will be appearing at this place. And you played that solo for Rough and Tough.
Right.
Why don't you come and play?" That was Chuck Wren's place show now. And I said, "Well, Stranger is my heart, Stranger is another one of the other persons that I'm very close to, Like when I called Stranger, you could hear the joy and he lights up, Yeah. So Chuck Wren, so I went where Stranger was playing the night for Chuck Wren, and I just went and played a solo, Rough and Tough. And boy, that did it right there. So I started doing shows for Chuck Wren, and the reason for me to get the tour in Germany and Czech Republic and all was Chuck Wren,
Wow.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
but I have to give credit to that Mexican guy.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Introducing. Yeah. No, and Chuck
Chema. He's an artist. He is a painter. He paints excellent.
He does flyers and posters. Very good.
He paints everything.
Incredibly
Yeah.
talented.
Very
Yeah.
good. Very good.
Him,
So
yeah,
you
man.
mentioned Europe. Tell us any highlights from your European tour. What are some of the
Well,
highlights?
the European tour I did, man. People were coming from all over the place. I remember a guy said they drove 5 hours to come see me
Wow.
when I was in the Czech Republic. Um, when I was in Belgium, there were people traveling from other places to come and see me because just that name has been more popular. I think it's more popular in Europe than anywhere else. Organaire.
Mhm.
And then I was there with Sultan Ali. I
Well,
was able
if you play over 3,000 songs, yeah, definitely, man. Wow.
huh? Yeah, man.
You're running close to Sly and Robbie. They are probably I think 250,000 songs. You're up there with them.
I played on even there was a guy named Roddy, the Blackbird label.
Mhm.
Blackbird?
Yeah.
Yeah, Blackbird, I think his name label was, yeah. I played out, man. I
Dr.
was so
Bird. There's a Dr. Bird as well, right?
Dr. Bird, Dr.
Dr.
Bird.
Bird,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Yeah, you're the record man. Dr. Bird, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roddy, man. I was very, very busy, man. I've always been busy anyway, true.
Hmm.
You know.
Charlie, I have a question since you were there from the start. How important, and I should say, I've always been fascinated about the connection between Cuba and Jamaica, and I even used to do a radio show called the Havana Kingston Connection. How important was Cuban music to the formation of ska?
Well, Cuban music was back in the 60s,
Yes,
50s, 60s. Cuban music was popular all over the world because here in America, everybody doing mambo and all of that stuff.
right.
Mm.
But Cuban music was big influence worldwide. When you listen to all the mambos and I'm trying to remember the name. That was the guy the group that did Cherry Pink and all of that.
Perez Prado.
Right. Presperado. Yeah, man. Thank you.
Yes,
You're
yes.
younger, man. So. But all these popular singers, Ella Fitzgerald, all of these people used to do Latin music. So
Right.
in Jamaica, of course, because the thing about the Jamaican bands back in those years, they played everybody's music. So you would hear a Jamaican band playing Cuban music,
Right.
just like the Cubans.
Right.
You hear a Jamaican band playing American music, just like the Americans. The bands were that versatile
Yes.
in Jamaica. Yeah, man. So,
Especially the ones I think that played and the bands that played in the tourist area,
Of
because I
course.
think that really and truly required to be extremely versatile, playing
not
all the
necessarily
different
just a
genres of
tourist
music
area,
all in one night. Huh?
Not necessarily just a tourist area, because you see, in Kingston, you have the Sheiks, you have the this, you have the that, you have all these different bands. And the
Mm.
music that was most popular back then was American music.
Right.
Because the only other music before the ska music,
Right.
the only other music we had was the mental music.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Right. So it was mental. And so they would play Cuban, the cha-cha-cha,
Hmm.
all these music they would play. Then they would play the American music, the standards, Louis Jordan. They would play Roscoe Garden. They would play Ella Fitzgerald. They would play everything
Everyone.
that America does.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
American music really stands out when it worldwide.
Right. Of course.
Mhm.
And especially back then with all these great, great Louis Jordan, Louis Armstrong, and all these great bands,
Yeah.
Doris Day. One of my favorite was this. what's her name? No, she um I went to your wedding the night,
Connie is
and
like
Patty
not
Page.
Connie Frank
Patty Page.
Skitter the
No, Patty Page.
Patty Page.
Right.
Yeah.
I know the song, it's ringing in my
Yeah,
head now.
Patty Page. Patty Page. Yeah. But she every song she did, I used to sing them.
But that's all they played on the radio back then anyhow, I
Yeah,
mean,
every song she
you
did,
know,
I used to
much,
sing.
yeah, I mean,
She was my
yeah,
favorite, you know?
Yeah.
yeah, we hear more American music on the radio than we hear ska and rocksteady,
True.
Yeah, back then
unfortunately.
that's what made us so versatile.
Right.
Because our little one radio station played jazz, they played blues, they played calypso, they played everything. They played music from Haiti, they played music from Dominican Republic because they like the merengue is from Dominican Republic. And we played all the
Yeah.
cha-cha-chas and all that from Cuba. We played the Puerto Rican music. We played everybody's music.
Yeah, true. Yes.
And so
And
producers like Coxsone and Duke Reid were more or less forced to buy time on the radio. You had Duke Reid had a 30 minutes. I
yeah,
think Coxsone as well had a 30 minutes where they would feature all their top songs for the week.
Hmm.
yeah. But then before that, he used to have a sound system called Tom the Great Sebastian.
Uh-huh.
So on Friday night, it was Treasure Isle time, and
Right.
then Tom the Great Sebastian. And
Mhm.
that was back in I would say in the 50s, no, late 50s, going into the 60s. Didn't come in the 60s yet.
Right.
But I remember, man, I used to tune up ready with my radio. Well, we used to have radio fusion. So everybody had radio fusion, but the radio station would rent these like speakers. People would rent them, and they were all over Kingston. Everybody had a radio fusion. And
Much to my regret, they didn't have them in the country.
no, just in Kingston. Kingston, yeah, just Kingston and St. Andrew, pretty much.
Yeah.
But
Yes, sir.
so on Friday nights, oh man, everybody, it was Treasure Isle time and Tom the Great Sebastian.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that
What
was
a
some
time.
good times, too, man.
What a time.
Yeah.
Um,
And that continued for a long time, right?
Oh yeah, it was for a
Yeah.
long time. Yeah.
Until
Yeah.
in the rocksteady early reggae era. Mhm.
oh, that's great.
Well, no, when the ska and all that came in, I think that time that faded out.
So the
Yeah.
stations would occasionally start playing ska.
Remember by then, but well, when Sky evolved, by then we had two radio stations, JBC and RJR.
Right.
True.
Uh-huh.
I remember when I started, there was no JBC. It was just
Right,
and,
RJR.
and somebody was reminding me of a different name, but I don't quite remember.
Hmm.
Yeah, because but I remember when I never forgot when I was first on RJR because I used to be on RJR on Saturdays. Some Saturdays, there was a program called Opportunity Knocks,
Mm-hmm.
and so I used to appear on Opportunity Knocks, and I remember there was the great pianist. His name was Howard Butler,
Oh, yes.
a jazz pianist,
Mhm.
and I remember his feet could barely touch the pedal. He was younger than I was. Yeah, I never forget, but he was excellent from all those years, man.
Right.
A little baby kid, man.
Mm.
Yeah, but he turned out to be. I think he went to Juilliard also.
Oh, my.
Became one of Jamaica best pianists. Yeah, one of the best. Yeah, because we had a whole lot of great pianists. We had a guy named Cecil Lloyd.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was also top. We have great
Monty Alexander.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so and this guy Cecil Lloyd was before Monty.
Right. Yes.
He's
Right.
dead now. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, Charley, I know you have such a long history career, and we're only scratching the surface. But as we're nearing the end here, just a couple more questions. Talk about any other stories or memories about working with the Scatolites.
Just in the studio.
Right.
I never really worked with them live.
Okay.
Because what happened, is that I think the reason why the Scatolite was formed is because Byron Lee was getting the credits to the ska music.
Right.
And they were playing the ska music in the studios. And I think that was so at the time when the band formed for, live band to play in the clubs and all of that. I was with Carlos at the time.
Okay.
So we played at a club called Sombrero. And at Sombrero, we were 100% audience-wise. 100%. Everybody was there, man. Everybody, their grandmother, cousin, everybody. And all of a sudden, Scatolites was playing at Bournemouth Club. And pull all these people away from us. They pull the people from Byron. They pull the people from just about everybody. So when you go to Bournemouth Club, man, that place was jam-packed with when Scatolite playing, with Don Drummonds especially, man.
Don Drummond.
Yeah, he was I learned that sometimes half the people would wait outside till Don goes in.
Yes.
He was kind of off the wall a little bit. So,
yes, sir.
Yeah, so sometimes he might not even make it,
Right.
But they wait for him, man, and boy, that was a great musician, man.
Oh man, absolutely.
Yeah, beyond great.
Genius.
And Heather said it best. What's her last name? Heather
Augustin, right?
Yeah, she said that she thinks he's the greatest because he died so early. What he contributed in the time of his
they rated him back
incarceration. But he was rated among the 3 best by several European authors at the time.
Yeah, J.J. Johnson and Kay Winding. Because J.J. Johnson is known to be #1 trombonist in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And Kay Winding, #2. So they rated J.J.K. and Don Drummonds. Mm-hmm. Because it's a great jazz. You see, the thing is, what people don't know that a lot of those musicians are jazz musicians.
Right.
You see, and jazz is really technical, very technical music. Mm-hmm. Very technical music. So these people play a lot of jazz, a lot of up-tempo jazz, all these kind of stuff. And a lot of these American great musicians used to come down to Jamaica and jam with these guys.
Right.
So, and I've heard that more than one American musician came when they heard about this guy, Don Drummond, just wanted to see what he was like to be rated #3.
Yes.
Or among the best in the world. I heard several American musicians just wanted to, who is this guy on an island 150 miles long by 50 miles wide,
But I tell you about the next one now. But I'm telling you about the next one, which is Ernest Ranglin.
Yes.
Yes.
I was in Montego Bay at the time, and Ernest Ranglin was playing the piano and the guitar at the same time. Okay? So what he was doing, he moves his hand on the chords on the fretboard, and then doing all kinds of stuff on the piano at the same time. And there were a group of American guys were there. I would believe they were musicians. And so I went up and I sang with a group, with a band, and they came talking with me, and they said, the reason why we're here because of that man. They went all the way just to listen to Ernest Ranglin play.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was playing the keys
as well.
He played the piano, playing the piano, and the guitar at the same time. So he's moving the chords on the guitar
Right.
and doing
I
like
know.
trials on the piano. I never forget that.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So I have one last question, and then Junior, over to you. Charley, did you ever think that ska would be so global and so big and have different smaller subgenres of style?
You know who asked me that question? Monty Alexander. Monty asked me that same question. He
Wow.
said, Charley, you believe that our little music
Well, yes.
would reach where it is, man? Oh, well, we, no, never thought it would.
Yeah.
And our music right now is, I mean, I don't care where you go in the world, man,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
been great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jamaica is the largest island, man.
Well, some
When I
people
say
call
the
it a continent.
largest, it's like a continent, right?
Yeah, you know, not to take away from what you said, but in fact to add to it that a writer said that every country in the world, every major capital, with few exception in the Arab world, you're gonna hear music from three countries:
Hmm.
England, United States, and you
Hmm.
guess the other one. You might not hear music from Canada. You might not hear music from Mexico, but you're gonna hear Jamaica, England, and America. Every major capital in the world.
Everywhere you go, man.
Yeah.
In Jamaica, and there's something about, and everybody's trying to talk like Jamaica. I remember there was this club where when I did the movie Love Jones, because I remember I played in
Yes.
that movie
Right.
Love Jones, right?
Mhm.
This club where they made the movie, it was called the Wild Here, and people from Africa, people from all over the place. Because the ska music was popular at the Wild Here, you know, the reggae music and all of that. All these people were calling themselves Jamaicans, trying to talk like I'm not joking, man. They're from Belize, they're from Africa, they're from all over the place, and they call
Yes.
themselves. They would say they were Jamaicans.
While you're laughing, I guess we're pretty much close to our destination. So, Charley, what's in store for 2025, sir?
Well, number one, I'm working on some new material,
Mhm.
and hopefully, well, you know what happened. The technology kind of changed as far as remember, first time we used to sell the records, then we sell the cassettes, then we sell
Cassettes.
CDs.
Yeah.
Now
Right.
A
the whole
track.
thing, now everything has changed. Now, so that I'm kind of way beyond on that. Now I'm still trying to catch up on that, right? But
Mhm.
But I'm working on my music, man. I have some nice music that I'm doing.
Okay.
Mhm.
And
I'm
maybe
I'm always writing.
yes, and
Right.
maybe performances.
I'm still performing. Yeah. I just did one show about 2 hours outside of Chicago, and oh man, that was nice. And I had a group, and I had a good group behind me because I'm still thinking about because I just hired him for that gig,
Mhm.
for those couple of gigs. Um, he was like Cannonball,
Wow.
alto sax player.
Mhm.
You know, they
Mhm.
met the people. These guys, the trumpeter played with me from a long time ago, and the trombonist and
Right.
keyboardist.
Right.
The only one that never played with me was the bass player.
Okay.
But so I'm still gigging, man. I'm still
And
doing.
what your set list consists of? You go back from pre-ska all the way up to contemporary stuff?
Well, I mostly do my originals. No,
Right. Uh-huh.
I mostly do my originals.
Right.
Because I'm selling my stuff. So
Right. So the stuff
no,
you're working
depending
on now,
on
what is it?
it's mixed. The last one is kind of a between kind of a dancehall, ska. Yeah, it's kind of mixed there, you know.
Mhm.
I wish I could play it for you, but it's on
The clock on the wall is very mean, telling us you have to wrap up.
yeah,
Um,
man.
Yeah. So Eric, any parting words?
one more question I had just while you were talking about working with musicians. When you would play for Chuck, were you backed by any other musicians and bands,
If I backed any, no, I don't. No, I just do my.
or play with any other bands from that area for when you would do
Oh no, I played with the band that Chuck. What are they now?
the
Gee,
prize fighters?
Prize Fighters. I
All right,
played.
yeah, they're incredible.
Yeah, yeah, because
Great.
they were the backing band for Chuck. So
Yes, yes.
most of the performances I did
Mhm.
was with them.
Okay.
You know,
All right.
and they're pretty
Right.
good too. You know,
Wow. They are, yeah.
they're pretty
Well,
good.
Oh yes, I saw them. Yeah, man, I saw them this past September.
right. It's Supernova.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So any closing thoughts? Any closing thoughts from you,
Well,
Eric?
let me say this. I haven't seen. I was telling a friend of mine earlier um, about this guy that did Maccabee version,
Max Romeo?
Max Romeo. I saw Max Romeo, man, and he looked good and he sounded good, man. I have seen him perform for years. I was just watching a program on the Jamaican program,
Yes.
and I was pleased to see that guy, man, performing. Yeah, I
He's
was
still going.
very, very pleased. Yeah,
Mhm.
but and then again, you know, hey, we just have to keep doing what we're doing, and
Did you record any songs with him?
I,
Did you
if I
play any
did,
of his songs?
I don't remember of playing on any of his songs. No,
Yeah. He came in during the
he
skinhead
came in
movement
a
around
little later. Yeah,
68.
True.
yeah,
Yeah,
he came.
68,
No, I didn't.
around there. 67.
But he was a friend of mine. We became friends, you know.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
became
Yeah.
friends. He was a good
Yes.
guy too. Yeah, so I haven't seen or heard anything of him from all those years,
Right.
and so watching him the other day, man, I felt good seeing him performing. You
I'm
know, at
sure.
his age and everything, he was moving
Mhm.
good. You know, but
Yeah.
yeah, you have to take care of yourself so you can.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes. So that's very important. Mental, spiritual, and physical.
Indeed.
Spiritual and physical.
Yes,
Yeah.
man. Mhm.
Charlie, thank you for your
Well,
time and for walking us through. You were there from the beginning, going
Yeah.
strong. You
Foundation.
you are foundation and
yes.
such an important figure
Foundation.
in the music that we all love. So thank you for your contributions and all
And
that.
thanks to everyone for the ongoing support. And please subscribe to this podcast series on our YouTube channel and follow at History of LA Ska on Instagram and join our Facebook group. This series is produced by Rockery Radio, one Eric Kohler and the Rockery crew. Big respect is due.
And Junior, thank you for all you do. Please follow Junor Francis as well on social media. Charlie, much love to you. Continue to be well. And I'll leave you with this. Please, everyone, do your part to celebrate and preserve the scene. Come on out, put on your dancing shoes, and enjoy yourself. Until next time, be well.
Yes.
Much love, everyone. Charlie,
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
you take
One
care.
love.
Yeah, man.
Take care.
One love. Yeah,
All
man.
right. Bye-bye now.